All right, welcome back to the Brown Balls podcast. We have a lot to get over today. How are you doing, brother?
Good, man. It's like Christmas for the NBA season.
Dude, NBA free agency is going crazy. I got my mango lassi, man. I'm ready to go. Let's do this thing, dude.
All right. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into it.
So remind me before we start. Remind me again. Did we cover the Kevin Durant thing last week? No, right? That was after our podcast. Or
Yeah,
was
that
before?
happened. Man, you know what?
I forget.
Sheesh.
I think it might have been after, right?
I think it was after. Yeah, Kevin
Okay,
Durant
so
got
let's go.
traded.
Let's start with there first. Biggest one, first of all, is definitely the Kevin Durant going to the Rockets. I thought it's a really good move for the Rockets' part. It fits them perfectly. They gave away one of their stars, obviously, in what's his name? Green, right?
Jalen Green.
So obviously, but like with him, you saw how he was in the playoffs. He was either going to give you single digits or he's going to give you 30 points. There was no way of knowing what's going to happen. And I don't think the Rockets really wanted that. And they see the window because everyone's so young. They see that this is their time. So they made the move, got rid of a star, and got a potential Hall of Famer in Kevin Durant. Obviously he's older, but I think he fits that team so perfectly. I mean, he fits any team really well, but specific for this team, it's exactly what he needs, right? They have a really good coach, they have a really good core group of young guys. They have Şengün, who's a really good all-star, and all you have to do is just score points, not be the leader, not be blah blah blah. Just go there and just do what you want to do, is play ball. Great move by Rockets first and foremost. What are your thoughts, man?
I'm surprised he got what he wanted, and I'm surprised the little that Rockets gave up, because Rockets actually owns Phoenix Suns a couple of draft picks, and they didn't get none of them. The only thing they got was a 10th pick in the Thursday's draft, where they drafted the center from Duke, and that was kind of an interesting move as well too. But they only got that in Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks, and then I think like 5 second rounders. But second rounders are second rounders, But look, man, it's a good move by Rockets. Clearly, they have they have a young team, but then they got this a veteran, superstar that can, kind of, put them over the hump. I don't know if this move kind of made them a championship team, but definitely would have beat the Golden State Warriors last year in Game 7. Yeah, this is the type of player you go get and make it to the Western Conference Finals. And so I like the move. Like you said, is a perfect fit because Durant is going to do what Durant does, and he's a perfect, sniper. He's a shooter. He was an assistant coach in Brooklyn when he went under Steve Nash, when he was with Kyrie and James Harden back in 19 and 2000, around that time, so he always wanted to be coached by Ime Udoka, and we know what Ime Udoka did with Boston, and so he has great offensive schemes and defensive schemes out there. So I think it's gonna fit perfectly, but I don't know if this is gonna put them over the hump. But piggybacking on that trade, today was the first day of free agency. Let's start off with the Houston Rockets. They got our boy, Dorian Finney-Smith. They added Dorian Finney-Smith. They added Clint Capella. Which were two good moves.
Yeah.
So what's your take on that? Let's go from there.
Great moves. I think getting Capella, which is good because he's obviously a shot blocker, good rebounder. And then, behind him will be Steven Adams, who's all, again, same thing, shot blocker and rebounder and good defensive players. That's what they need, really, especially in the West. If you're going to contend against Jokic and now with, Chet Holmgren and all them, like you need that size up front. So they definitely checked off those two marks with those two. And then honestly, Dorian Finney-Smith didn't work out for us. I know you're really high on him when we first got him, but he just wasn't quite what we wanted. I think he turned into a Vanderbilt for us, and then Vanderbilt was either good or not good. I think for this team, it's exactly what they need. They need a 3-point guy. They need a long defender because KD will be out there, and so will Van Fleet, and they got Şengün out there to stretch the floor. So like they'll make better use of him than the Lakers did. I think the Lakers just got him because he was young and he's athletic, but we didn't really use him potentially. And I think that's fight against JJ Redick because he didn't know how to use him properly. Because he would be a good tool for Luka, but we didn't do that. But yeah, today's moves were fantastic. I honestly think the Rockets, I would put them number 2, but they're very, very close to OKC now in terms of currently for the Western Conference Finals. They're very close. I still give the edge to OKC. Yeah, that's right.
and they already have two centers, right? They have Shagun and they have Steven Adams, right?
Yeah.
So now they're like wondering why they got Clint Capella, but people don't realize that now they can play different type of defense and offense, right?
Exactly.
There's gonna be athletic, centers out there because Shagun is not really athletic at all,
Yeah.
and so
he's
Capella,
more of a power forward, right?
exactly.
Really
So, yeah. So they can actually kind of put him out there, kind of do what Cleveland does, so it's good, And Dorian Finney-Smith, man, I didn't know Dorian Finney-Smith was what was 33 or something, or he was like 32 or something. I forgot how old he's. I didn't know he was that old, to be honest. And Rockets signed him to a 4-year, $43 million. It's like little under like 13 million per or something. So I'm glad because the Lakers didn't want to extend Dorian for 4 years. That's a little too much for 4 years, for that type of salary. And again, I don't blame the Lakers or what they're doing in this way, letting Dorian Finney-Smith go, because to be honest with you, late last night, when the news broke that, Deandre Ayton got bought out, and order for us to even offer him a really sizable contract or money, we had to let Dorian Finney-Smith go, because once he left our cap, we actually went under the first apron. We're actually so we actually gained the mid-level, which is 15 million, and biannual, which is 5 million. If we would have kept Dorian Finney-Smith, we would have only had that 5 million to spend. But by him leaving our cap, we were able to gain that 15 million and also another additional 5 million. So we can do more with our roster. And like you said, I was high on him. He's Luka's good friend, obviously, so that was great. But we were logjam at small forward. We had him, we had Rui, and we had Vander. They all play the same way, right? And I don't know what's gonna happen to Rui and Vanderbilt, because they might be in the trade. We might trade them, we might keep them. We don't know, right? But we do have size there. And in the draft, we also drafted a small forward, which I'm kind of high on. He's really good. He's athletic, and so we can actually give him minutes too. So Dorian Finney-Smith became expandable. So I was fine with that. And going back to the Houston's point, they replaced Dillon Brooks, because Dillon Brooks was a huge part of their culture, their locker room kind of guy. He was a veteran. He played, even though he wasn't a 3-and-D, but he played a really good defense. It was really like a good defensive player for them. So when they traded for Kevin Durant, they actually lost the wing, the wing player who can play defense, right? So in that case, Dorian Finney-Smith is not like an outstanding defender like, Dillon Brooks is, but he can actually, guard the other team's small forward when Durant's older in age, so Dorian Finney-Smith can be that guy, guarding their, wing players, right? And also Dorian Finney-Smith is slightly better than Dillon Brooks in three-point shooting, so they upgraded. They needed that, and so it worked out well for them. So they definitely
fits the team really well.
Exactly, man. And so I do think Houston is rounding out to a good shape. They are getting closer to OKC, and again, West I still think is wide open. I mean, whoever gets catches on fire, they catch on fire. But I mean,
I think there's a difference now.
There is,
right?
There is.
So I think like OKC, Houston, and I would put probably the Nuggets after today's move top 3, and everybody else is like.
I would put Dallas in there, man, because they have depth, man.
Yeah, but no, I give you Dallas on paper should be good, but we don't know how Kyrie's gonna be. Kyrie also they just
got temporarily D'Angelo for 2 for 16, man. That was a steal. Like, I mean, Kyrie's coming back in January, maybe February, but until then, D'Angelo being your point guard, he can he's still young and he can still play well. We see him playing in LA, and he's going back and playing with AD and Max Christie and them boys. So that was a great pickup by Dallas too. D'Angelo. So
great pickup. Yeah,
it's gonna be good.
That's why I think then it'll be like the good teams. Like you got obviously the Clippers, Dallas, Lakers, Timberwolves, right? Like those teams will probably round it out. But I think the top 3 are kind of like head above everybody else just a little bit. Before I think given this end of this year, it was definitely like OKC's up here, everybody else kind of can be anywhere. Now I think you definitely have a lot better tiers. But dude, Houston Rockets, that front office is knocking it out of the park, man. They are still young, but they improved significantly. So they didn't give up a lot to get to where they are now. Smart.
Man. They'll depth like crazy. They can throw that out of OKC easily, man. They're deep. They're 10 deep, man, at every
And Udoka
position.
is a very good defensive coach, so
Yeah,
that's
man.
already in itself going to be good. KD's going to give you what KD does, at least 25, 28 a night easy. And you got the good defenders.
If
Houston will go.
KD doesn't win a championship now with this team constructed, man, I don't know if he ever will, because they're not asking. Honestly, dude, to be honest with you, the way the way they rounded up this team reminds me of the 2020 Lakers, where they just told LeBron that, look, don't do too much, just play your role, and we're gonna get you what you need. In 2020 they got him shooters. They got Caldwell Pope, Danny Green, snipers. They got them, point guard, right? Rondo and I forgot who we had. Caruso. We have them, and then he got him a partner in crime in AD. And then they had two centers at the ham, with Joe McGinn and Dwight Howard. So LeBron didn't really, exhaust his energy so much. When the playoffs came, that's when he's like, all right, get into full gear, and that's when Lakers were so dominant, right? The Houston Rockets team, the way it's constructed, they're telling KD that, hey, look, in the season, don't go too hard. We have weapons for you, like
I mean, they were number 2 in the West.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, their offense is studs still. I mean, they still have Alpha Shagun, and then they have Thompson who can score now. They have Van Vliet. They have all these type of players who can score for them, and KD just has to play his role, man. And when playoff comes, he can take over. That's what they needed. And so I think this team is constructed to just kind of help KD win that championship, man.
But do you think so? Because KD got traded, do you think there's still a lot of pressure for him? Because usually the pressure comes when he signs with a team, and then they're like, and then that way he picked a team to win it. But in this case, he was traded there, even though it's one of the teams that he wanted to go to. Do you still think there's the same amount of pressure for him to win?
100%.
You think so?
Because KD left, he actually wanted to leave. Suns, needed him to. That was the only value they can get back, something, and they did,
Yeah.
And so KD, he still hasn't won a championship outside of the Golden State Warriors. He left Golden State to construct his big three in Brooklyn. That didn't work out. Then he's like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna leave and go to Phoenix, and they dismantled that team. Now he's actually going to Houston. He needs to win a championship by himself, man. Like, not by himself, but at least kind of like now with the Golden State. That's the thing with LeBron, right? He wanted without the Miami Heat. He wanted Cleveland. That defines his career, right? So KD is gonna be pressurized, season every time.
Would he be the best player in that team?
No, not every night though. No.
Right? So
not every night.
So that's not up to if it was a Nets, I get it. Phoenix, I get. Like he was the best player in this team. But
Right.
this team, I don't think he's the best player there. So I don't know if his legacy is kind of set. But you're right. I think a win outside of the Golden State helps his legacy a lot more. Just like how when Golden State won without KD that one year, that was okay, they are legit. They they didn't need KD all that after all, right? And Draymond was kind of right at that point. But I think you're right. I think KD does need to win, but I just don't know if there's a lot of pressure for him to win as much as it was before. Yeah. Rightfully so. Yep.
Now they're expected to get that second place, the bare minimum. If they can't go lower than second seed, because that'll be a disappointment in the standings. They gotta be second or higher in that case. So that's what I feel, man.
No, I agree with you. All right. So next big trade today was around the Nuggets.
Yes.
With Michael Porter Jr. going for
Cam Thomas. Oh no, not Cam Thomas.
Cam Thomas.
Johnson. Right? What's his name?
Cam Johnson. Yeah, one of those.
Cam Johnson.
Cam Johnson. Honestly, dude, great move. This is gonna separate. This is why I think the Nuggets have separated from the rest of the West, because MPJ was good, but he's a chucker that doesn't get any assists, doesn't play any defense, just loves to shoot 3-pointers, and he's a good shooter, right? He did well, but Cam Johnson is a true 3-and-D player, good defender, great wing. Can shoot a 3-pointer, not as good as MPJ, obviously, but this is the first big move they've done in a while. The Nuggets have, and I think this is very, very this has gotten a lot closer for sure. Great move.
I personally feel I know. I personally feel this puts them ahead of Houston.
Think so?
Yeah, man, because you have arguably the best player, right?
Yeah.
If not best, one of the top three. Jokic is Jokic, man. There's no way getting around it. You can't double him, you can't triple him, you can't do anything with this guy. He's a 2-time MVP or whatever he is, and so by him just getting Cam Johnson, right? I mean, people forget in Phoenix Suns. Yes, I understand they had Chris Paul, they had Devin Booker and Mikal Bridges, but this guy was the glue. The reason like they succeeded so well because he did all the dirty work. He played defense against the best player. He shot the three well. He shot the like shot the ball like over like I think 45%, man, in that series, going to the finals, losing to the Milwaukee Bucks. This guy is good, man, and he was kind of hidden away for a few years in Brooklyn, so people didn't really talk about him. But man, dude, I honestly. They got him for Michael Porter and a unprotected first round pick. Yeah. That was a steal,
That's
man.
That's crazy, dude.
I mean,
crazy.
You basically you technically put Aaron Gordon back to his natural position, which is a 3, because this guy is a power forward, actually. A stretch power forward.
He's long enough.
Exactly, and he's gonna complement Jokic so well. And if you have healthy, Jamal Murray, now they got their 6-man back, Bruce Brown, today on a 1-year deal. They really missed him. He's the main reason they won that championship back in 2023, because Bruce Brown, when he came in the game, he changed the whole dynamic of it. He's the one, kept the lead or went higher because he took over most of the time in the playoffs. Especially as a Laker fan, he took over, Bruce Brown was just incredible, and they still have like their, other role players. So man, this trade was amazing for them, man. This basically kind of assures that they're still a top 3 team, like you said. But dude, man, you gotta imagine without Michael Porter was injured, they were tired, and they still took OKC to Game 7.
Yeah.
And so imagine if they weren't tired and Michael Porter wasn't injured, and you take Michael Porter out and put this guy in, man.
Yeah, and with a very, very fresh coach.
Exactly.
Right now, at least the coach will have a whole year and just
experience,
have better
man.
Game plan. Like they will definitely improve.
This was a steal. This was a great move by them, man. I was just so shocked. I can't believe all they gave was Michael Porter and a first round pick. That's it, man. So, but man.
Honestly, could not have. I mean, I know they want to get rid of Michael Porter because he also has some addicting locker room issues where he was ratting out people, whatever. But like them being able to replace him with Cam Johnson, that's like freaking amazing. I thought it would be just like pennies, whatever, like maybe a couple of first round picks. But this is literally like a very, very good trade. I mean, obviously the Nets are not going anywhere, but this is a great trade for
this guy's another Aaron Gordon for them, man.
Yeah.
Aaron Gordon's stat sheet doesn't show shit, man. He does so much for them. And this guy's just like him, dude.
Yeah.
Like, wow. I was just surprised, man. Like, they went for it. And,
and it's big for the Nets because the Nets haven't been holding on to him for a whole year. Like, apparently a lot of teams have wanted him for a while, but they always kept saying, no, we're not going to trade him. And then now they actually let him go for MPJ. Crazy, man.
I mean, I guess they're sold on Michael Porter, man, to kind of, be one of their pieces, to build around, So, I mean, now Michael Porter actually, gets there, gets his own team, Michael, I mean, sure, quick story. Michael Porter was actually, overall number 1 player coming out of high school, by the way. He was a Gatorade, champion coming out of high school. He was supposed to be the number 1 pick. He went to Missouri for college. But if it wasn't for his injuries, he slid down all the way to 11th. He was supposed to be a top 3 pick, but teams, during the draft day, when he got drafted, their medical report came out saying that his back is not sustainable. So instead of being a top 3, he dropped all the way to number 10th or 11th to Denver Nuggets. And Denver Nuggets was a playoff team at the time. They were first and out, but they had nothing to lose, so they chose him. And he was good. So Michael Porter, he can actually show more what he has now. So he has his team now, so it's good.
Yeah, he'll be able to go out there and put, do what he does best, which is shoot 20 times and, get 25, 26 points. So let's see a couple other signings. Obviously, Brook Lopez going to the Clippers, and that's something that we had talked about where we were hoping that he would come to the Lakers. Clippers signed him for 2 years, $18 million. I think good trade. I mean, good signing overall for them because they do need a good backup for Zubac, someone
You
to
know,
stretch the floor.
it's funny, right? When I was watching the draft, Bob Myers. I don't know if you watched the draft, but I don't know what channel you watched it on. If ABC or ESPN, there was two different people talking. So ABC had Stephen A. Smith and Bob Myers, and I was watching them because I like Stephen A.'s reaction, and Bob Myers, has very good insights,
Genius, yeah.
And so he was shocked. He made a statement saying that, man, a few years ago, we were going away from drafting 7-footers like centers, Now people are dying to go get centers in the draft. And now you see during free agency, like people want centers, right? And Brook Lopez fits perfectly in what Clippers are trying to do, right?
Yeah.
If you look at how NBA is kind of tilting, OKC, Chat Holmgren, and they have Hartenstein, right?
Hartenstein,
yeah. And then if you look at San Antonio, they have Wemby. And they also have another power forward who's tall enough they can play with them too. So in this case, what I'm trying to say is Clippers actually can play Zubac and Brook Lopez because Brook Lopez is actually 40% 3-point shooter. He can actually play power forward for them. It's kind of like Cleveland, right? They have Evan Mobley, and they have the center. They can actually stretch. So I can envision seeing, Brook Lopez and Zubac playing together too, It kind of changes up the lineup, and so it being tall because you need that, right? And so it's a good pickup by them. But again, as a Laker fan, I would not pay him 2 years, $18 million. That's $9 million a year, because I rather, I will get into the Lakers, but there's a better center out there in my view. So
yeah. I mean, yeah. Overall, I think he fits the Clippers pretty well too. And they just signed James Harden an extension.
Dude, 2 years, $81 million.
That's a lot, dude. Honestly, I don't think he's worth that kind of money.
He's doing LeBron deal 1-on-1, right? And so, but damn, $40 million though.
$40 million a year for James Harden? I don't think so. No. I mean, he did well in the playoffs.
He disappeared, man. He disappears,
But then when he did well the first couple of games after, he just completely disappeared. And you don't know what you're going to get with, I mean, honestly, he's a $20 million player, right? Not $40 million a year. That's too much for James Harden. Let's see, another notable signing right now just happened about an hour ago, which is Jordan Clarkson going to the Knicks to be a good bench piece for them for sure. Instant offense kind of player. That's kind of what they wanted to. Hopefully, with a new coach, they add some rotating pieces like Jordan Clarkson to it. That's a good pickup for them.
It's crazy. Danny Ainge wanted a first-round pick for Jordan Clarkson. They asked the Lakers that we want first-round pick for Jordan Clarkson. Here, he got bought out. Like, come on, man. Do you really want a first-round pick? And then, like, the other day, who they traded? It was, I forgot who they traded, but they're asking for a first-round pick for him, too. I think it was to Charlotte. I forgot who they traded for, gosh. But I was like, dude, really? You really going to trade this? Oh, yeah, Sexton. Call it Sexton.
Right, yeah. And let him go.
They made that trade yesterday, and they're asking for a first-round pick for Colin Sexton. And they end up trading him for Nurkic and a future second-round pick. I'm like, come on, man. Seriously?
Yeah.
So, yeah, crazy, man. Danny Ainge always plays hard with the Lakers, man. People don't get Lakers taxes out there, man. Lakers tax is different.
He also just hates the Lakers. He's a former Celtic, so he just hates the Lakers in general.
Of course.
Okay. Any other signings that you want to talk about? We'll get into not signing, but any other free agent stuff.
I mean, I don't know I don't know if we talked about CJ McCollum trade from Pelicans for Jordan Poole. That was a good one, man. Yeah, it happened last week, dude. I'm gonna go off the limb. If they stay healthy, Washington Wizards will make the plan. Not the playoffs. Make the plan. They'll be the top 10.
I mean, let me see the East. Who would you knock out for the Wizards? That's what I want to know. That's what I wonder.
All right, let's check it out. Let's
see standings. Okay, so this year we had obviously the top 6, and you got at the bottom end you got Orlando Magic, Heat, Hawks, and Bulls. Wizards were last place. So who do you see falling out of that? Because the Hawks just signed a couple of good players, not mind blowing, but a couple of good decent players. The Heat are the Heat. The Magic, I think, will get better.
Chicago? No, Miami or Chicago will be out.
Yeah, Chicago.
Milwaukee might be trending the waters too, man. So, I mean, You
think so?
Actually, never mind. Milwaukee will make the playoffs. They have Giannis. It depends on how healthy Giannis is. But I do feel Chicago and Miami, because Atlanta upgraded like crazy this offseason with Porzingis, and then today they got Shai Alexander's cousin, Nikola Alexander. So they got him. So, but I do feel like I do feel Chicago and Miami, man, they're hit and miss. Like, to be honest with you, because like Chicago lost Lonzo Ball, and now they're talking about trading. I do feel Golden State, if they lose out on Ayton, they'll go for who's it, Valanciunas? They'll go for him. So like they'll lose more players, right? So I do feel like if you look at Washington Wizards, if they stay healthy, man, they gotta stay healthy. But dude, they got Marcus Smart, they got CJ McCollum, and they got Chris Middleton. I'm not saying like they're gonna make the playoffs. I'm saying they're gonna make the
solid players.
I mean, those guys are playing for their contract still. CJ McCollum's on his last year, Marcus Smart's on his last year, and also what's his name, Middleton's on his last year too. They're all playing for a contract next year, man. So they're all gonna be, because they gotta prove they're healthy. All three of them are injury prone, right? And so they all gotta prove they gotta be healthy. They gotta stay healthy. They gotta play a full year. And I do feel that Wizards, they don't make that playoff, like 10th spot, dude. I think
that'd be tough, dude. I don't see the Wizards jumping that much. I mean, they probably won't get. I mean, I don't think play-in, but they'll probably be in the number 11th or 12th place. Because I mean, how do you feel about Sixers? Do you think Sixers are going to go anywhere?
All right, look, they won 18 games, right? Middleton was out basically. He got traded during the deadline, right? So he didn't even play for them. Marcus Smart barely even played for them, right? So look, with Marcus Smart and Middleton and CJ McCollum playing, okay, not 82 games, but playing like 65 games, right? That's like 80%, right? That 18 wins gonna turn into at least, all three of them together will give you combined 12 more victories. So your 12 more victories going to get you to 11th, which is Toronto Raptors, right? So if they're that close, they might make a push for that 10th spot. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, they're easily going to get you 12 more victories, 12 to 14 more victories. You're battling for that 10th spot right there, So that's why I feel like, I don't know if they stay healthy. That's my thing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's quite a leap. I mean, I do also kind of see Indiana falling off a little bit.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Indiana,
with that Halley.
I don't think Indiana makes the playoffs, to be honest.
I mean, I'm sad to say it because they're a good team. With that Halley, I don't think Siakam is going to be the one that's going to carry them to the playoffs. No. So they might fall off too.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm just saying it's insane, dude. I don't know.
And then we also had Randall signing a 3-year, $100 million contract, which, I mean, he whooped the Lakers, and after that, he just disappeared. I mean, I guess he got what he wanted.
Everyone's whooping the Lakers, bro, to be honest with you. Who's not whooping the Lakers?
Yeah. Mavs, I think we talked about earlier, Mavs signing D'Lo, good trade for them. I mean, that's a great signing for them.
That's a great stop gap player for them they need, Yeah. And so, but going back to going back to Minnesota, I know what we're gonna get into, but going back to Minnesota real quick, I want to harp on this.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same team, right? Do you think, how good are they? Because like they're a second apron. They signed Julius for 3 years, $100 million. They signed Naz Reid for 5 years, 125.
Damn.
And then you got Gobert making that money. So you basically having Naz Reid play. You're gonna pay him 25 off the bench. I mean, dude, you're paying like Edwards like crazy contract. Like, that's not a championship team, man. I'm just sorry to say. And you're paying all these players. Like, Randall's not gonna get you over the hump. I mean, you either had to choose Randall or Naz Reid in that case. I don't know why they paid both of them in such a big contract. One's 3 years and one's 5 years.
Yeah,
man,
that's a bad one. That I agree with, because they're not a good team. I mean, they're a good team. They're a good, solid playoff team.
I mean,
they got lucky because Steph Curry got injured.
Exactly.
If Steph Curry did not get injured, they're not making the finals. I don't care what people say.
And
then now you're stuck with Randall, who is hit or miss. They saw that in the playoffs, right? Either he does really well, like he did against the Lakers, or he plays really shitty, like he did against the rest of the teams. And then Naz Reid is a solid bench-ish player,
streaky shooter, man. That's all he is. He doesn't play defense, and you can pay him 25 mil. And like, to be honest with you, Lakers were literally a decent center away from making that a series. I mean, we had no center going out there, So obviously, Gobert took all the advantage. He had so many offensive rebounds, right? And we couldn't hit anything, in the ocean. So it's like, okay. But like, damn, man, that team is stuck, dude, to be honest with you, man.
And I think this will come back to haunt Anthony Edwards, especially after what he said at the end of the season about was like, because he's used to going there back-to-back finals. But now it's gonna be reality. Like, no, this is a long-term thing. He's not gonna make it back for a while, I don't think. Because again, the top 3 teams are there. everybody else is kind of scrambling for the 4th, 5th spot.
Exactly, I agree with you.
All right, let's get into some Laker talk, man. So we got your big hope or your big prediction rather is that Deandre Ayton is going to come to the Lakers. That's what we're holding out on right now. What makes you say that? Why would he come to the Lakers? Why do you think he is the piece that's going to change our identity?
So a few factors. One, he shares the same agent as Luka. Yeah. In the past, Luka's agent, have said that, Luka really want to play together. They're actually good friends off the court, and so they're drafted in the same class. Ayton was number 1 overall pick, and Luka was number 3 overall pick. So they're there. That's one reason. The second reason is that in that finals run, Phoenix Suns went up against Lakers, which they had, they had Marc Gasol and JaVale McGee, I think, or Marc Gasol and Dwight Howard. I forgot who they had. And Anthony Davis was there, right? Ayton went up against them, played pretty well. Then in the second round, they went up against Zubac and I think DeMarcus Cousins, right? And that was in the Western Final, if I'm not mistaken. And Ayton played a pivotal role in that series to make it to the finals. He actually defended well. He grabbed rebounds. And then the third thing is if you look at his stat line or the way he plays really well with a point guard who knows how to facilitate properly. Ayton is like a Kwame Brown, but a little more better than Kwame Brown because he actually can catch the ball.
That's high praise, dude.
No. But like Kwame Brown was a really good defensive player, right? But I'm saying but he was overall number 1. I'm comparing number 1 overall pick. I know it's not, but I'm saying but see, with Ayton, he can actually shoot the mid-rangers, and at the same time, if you look at it, he played really well with Chris Paul. He always had those lobs. Chris Paul set him up really well for easy buckets, and that's what Doncic does, right? He makes life easier for Lively, makes life easier for PJ Washington. Easily, he'll do that for Ayton. And Ayton, when I watched him in Arizona, man, he was dominant, right? And he actually damn, man, this guy's gonna be a man reckoned with, And so he played well in Arizona when he was playing for them. I'm not saying he's a savior. I'm not saying that, oh man, Lakers are, Ayton's gonna come and we're gonna we're a championship team. No. But Ayton is still better than who was out there. Ayton's better than Brook Lopez, who's 36. Ayton's better than Capella, who's 36 or 34, whatever he is. Ayton is better than the guy from Boston who just signed with San Antonio. That white boy, I forgot his name. He signed with them. He's better than him. I rather pay. They all got the common thing. They all got paid $9 million. If I have to give $10 million, because Ayton's gonna command, Ayton gave up $10 million because he was owed $35 million. He negotiated a $25 million contract to get a buyout. Usually, what happens is that when you lose that money in the buyout, you recover that when you go sign with that team. So that's what I'm saying. I'm happy Dorian Finney-Smith left, so it opened up the space for us. Ayton surrendered $10 million. He's gonna command about a $10 million contract. If I had to give $10 million to someone like Capella, Brook Lopez, Ayton, I would choose Ayton. He's younger. He's only 23 or 24. He's very young. I feel Ayton still has potential. We don't know what he really has. He was stuck in Portland, just like Cam Johnson. He was stuck in Brooklyn. He was stuck in Portland. Portland has nobody. Portland barely drafted Scoot Henderson. They didn't. Their front office, their coaching staff was not geared for Ayton, right? So I do feel that Ayton's gonna get a fresh start. Still has potential. We don't know who Ayton really is, He's still a number 1 overall pick, He's not a bust because he's still played well. So those are the factors. And on top of that, Lakers don't got to give up assets. I'm not a believer on giving 2 first-round picks, 3 swaps for Kessler. I don't consider Kessler a game changer either. I don't consider Kessler putting us above and beyond to make a championship team either, So if I have to go get someone for cheap and not give up our draft capital and keep our draft capital, I think Ayton is a really good player because he needs to prove it. He's on his last year. He's going to sign a 1-year deal. He's going to play for a bigger contract, so he's going to be in his best behavior, right? And he's going to play with Luka and LeBron. We don't know what Luka and LeBron can turn Ayton into. He might play well because Ayton might become a guy who's going to don't laugh at me. He might become a guy who's gonna do like 10 and 10.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's a low bar. I mean, he was supposed to be a 20 and 10 guy.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, but he Portland played so bad, so he couldn't do it. So if Ayton is like 10 and 10 with like 4 blocks, I mean, look, we didn't give up any draft capital yet. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. We're gonna get him for free, right? And I do think that with Ayton being younger, being with the Lakers, look, Lakers are still kind of rounding the shape for their roster. I mean, we were still number 3 overall in the Western Conference. Tough Western Conference without a center. We were still number 3.
But we agreed it's not. They weren't really a number 3 team. You know, like
everybody was packed. I understand. Everybody was separated by a game.
So close.
No, everybody was separated by a game. But the only thing that gives me confidence is that, you know, besides OKC, Lakers had the second best record against the top 10 teams in the West.
Yeah,
that you can't take that away from them because they actually went and won those games against like Golden State, against OKC, against Timberwolves.
But none of that matters, dude. We lost first round.
No, I agree with you. I completely.
It's my only thing with Ayton, and I agree with you. Where like, yes, we can if we sign him for like 10 or in a 15-year, 1-year contract, that's fine. I think that's okay. If he demands more than that, then I'm like, I call bullshit on that, right? But my only thing is, I guess for 1 year it's also not going to be an issue, but is he coachable? Like his biggest thing was in Suns, what got him pushed on Suns was that he sat out, he quit on his team, and then he goes to Portland, which again, as Chauncey Billups is over there, right? And he couldn't quite mesh. Even Chauncey Billups is a player's coach, and he couldn't even get that properly done. Because even in Portland, he should be averaging 20 and 10. If you're in a bad team like that, right, he should be averaging, but he didn't. So like, I just don't know where his headspace is. Is he just going to be okay with doing a 15 and 10 kind of guy? Because he, like you said, talent-wise, he's a 20. He should be a 22 and 12 kind of guy.
Easily.
He's tall,
number 1 overall pick. Yeah,
got a lot of skill sets. Good low post game. Doesn't want to shoot 3 points 24/7, which is good for a center nowadays, and a good defender too. Like he should be that guy. So maybe with the Lakers that bring that, but I'm just hoping that like, you know, Redick is such a hard-nosed coach. I just don't know if he'll fit with that because at the same time, Redick isn't the best at motivating players. He's good at yelling at players. So
yeah,
we'll see. But I agree with you. I think he is the best center that's available out there. I do wonder if it's down to us or Golden State. Who, if you were Ayton, if it's between Lakers or Golden State, who would you want to go play for? Who's more success ready?
I would go with. I'm not being biased because I'm a Laker fan, but I'll go with Lakers because Golden State, as Kevin Durant alluded to it, they run such a different type of offense. It's not a point guard heavy offense where Lakers is Luka, here's the ball. Just like Dallas, here's the ball. Now let's create the offense for us. Like he'll create Luka, like so that'll be easy buckets for in Golden State, as you can tell. Like the reason why I say that is because Golden State also drafted, they passed him on LaMelo Ball, and they drafted the center. God, losing his name. He's a young center they drafted. What happened to him? He flamed out. He was supposed to be so good. He was supposed to be so good. He was supposed to be like the next coming of Anthony Davis, actually, to be honest with you. Why he flamed out is because Steve Kerr doesn't play young people, and his offense is not for centers. His offense is more like ball movement, meaning like no one's going to hold the ball for more than 2 seconds to pass the ball. And Ayton is not that. Ayton doesn't want to do that. You know, he doesn't want to move around and pass the ball. He wants like, you know, Luka giving a screen, down low screen, going. Either Luka's going to get a shot or he's going to throw a lob to Ayton like that, you know? So I feel that his best position, if he wants to redeem his career, you know, get that, you know, money next year, is to play with Luka. Yeah. That's my view. I'm not being a bias on this, but that's the way I see it.
Yeah, because it might come down to those two teams, right? Like you said, I think Golden State's interested and Lakers interested. So like, I wonder who would want to go there. I think you're right. If he's just playing for a contract next year, Lakers is a better option. But if he wants to win something, then I think that'd be Golden State. Because I think Golden State's much more ready now than the Lakers are. Lakers are still figuring things out. So
exactly, man. But I do think Ayton is going to be the best option without giving up any draft capitals. Like, I mean, Kessler, like Danny Ainge's asking us like freaking the moon, basically. Like 2 first-round picks, 2 swaps, and Dalton Connect. Same thing with Charlotte. I want to talk about that now. The Laker tax.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me this. People don't believe me when I say Laker tax. What did Charlotte ask the Lakers during the deadline for Mark Williams? They asked for Dalton Connect. Yeah. They asked for unprotected first-round pick and a pick swap, right? What did Phoenix Suns give up for Mr. Mark Williams?
This is a first round pick, right?
That's
Just
it.
one pick. Yeah.
That's it. No young player, no young player.
Yeah.
And no swaps. And the first round pick they gave up was just this year's.
Yeah.
They give the 29th pick.
It also goes to show you why the Lakers canceled the trade.
Exactly.
Because they saw that the value isn't quite there, which I think is smart that the Lakers did cancel it, because I think Charlotte also knows that there is some injury issue with this guy, and they wouldn't want to get rid of him. So
they still sold low on him.
Yeah, they had to, because I think after whatever Lakers did, it exposed him.
Exactly.
And they're like, shit, we just gotta get rid of this guy, get him out of our team. So yeah, but you're right. The Laker tax is definitely there, and I think that's a part of playing the game. I think it's part of being a Laker. I don't know if it's an anti-LeBron thing or if it's anti-Laker thing, but
that's why people are all pissed right now. One of our friends, who's crying right now, crying me the river right now.
Why did they get him? Why are the Sixers signing people? I'm like,
first of all,
okay, dude.
I'm like, dude, breathe. The thing is,
you're the worst GM ever, dude. We just gotta sign somebody. Hey, can you play basketball? Come on, I'm gonna sign you.
Seriously, dude. That. There's a reason. It takes two to tango, right? Yeah. I mean, obviously, Rob would have pulled the trigger on the center already if they're willing to, be transparent and play fair game, right? But obviously, Rob hasn't done it because they're not playing a fair game here. So I don't know, man. I hate when people are hard on Rob, and our friend said that if it wasn't for Daddy Harris, and we wouldn't have gotten Luka. No, come on, man.
No.
Okay, you know what's funny? I was listening to 710 ESPN, right?
Mm-hmm.
What our friend said about if it wasn't for Daddy Harris and meaning Nico Harris and who donated Luka to us,
right?
We wouldn't have Luka. It was funny because that same question was same way was posed on 710 ESPN when I was driving one time last week. Ramona Shelburne was on, right? She was filling in for one of the co-hosts, right? Perfect. And this caller called saying that, if it wasn't for, Dallas and Nico Harris and, donating Luka, Rob hasn't done shit, right? And so, you know what her response was? He's like, do you know who Rob, they're like, do you know who Lakers acquired? They acquired a once-in-a-generational player named Luka Doncic. All Lakers gave up was Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and one first-round pick. Everyone is so shocked how Austin Reeves was not in that deal.
Yeah.
Because how come more picks were not in that deal? So that's where Rob Pelinka came in the game, right? That's what Rob Pelinka negotiated with Nico. I'm sure Nico asked for the moon, right? He probably asked for, hey, we want to do the trade with you. We're going to give you Luka, who's 25, but we do want AD. We want Max. We want Austin Reeves. We want 2 first-round picks and 2 swaps for Luka, right? Obviously, that's what he probably asked for the moon. But that's where Rob's negotiation came through and said that, no, we're not going to give everything. If you want to do the deal, we're going to give only Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and our first-round pick. Either take it or leave it. We're not going to do all that, because we don't know if Luka's going to sign long-term with us or not, because you said we can't talk to Luka, right? That's what Rob Pelinka did. So for even our friend who said that, or the caller said that was a perfect explanation by Ramona Shelburne. She was like, no, Rob Pelinka negotiated a good deal.
Yeah.
It wasn't given to us. It wasn't given to us.
Yeah, if the Clippers got that call, they'd be like, "Who do you want? Okay, we'll give you Kawhi, we'll give you Zubac, we'll give you we'll give you 5 second-round picks." He would have given the moon,
and that's what they did. And that's what they did. That's what they did for Paul George, right? They gave the moon.
Exactly.
Think about that, right? And so
Rob
that's what
never make that kind of that kind
of trade. Rob is sensible. He knows what kind of trade to make, right? And so that's what was explained to that caller. That caller had nothing to fucking say, dude. It was because that's true, because Rob negotiated a great deal, man. We didn't give up everything for Luka. We only gave up AD, 1 first-round pick, and Max Christie, who was actually a second-round pick, number 36 or 34, what he was. A second-round pick, Max Christie, that we developed in the house, right? It wasn't a first-round pick. So that's what I'm saying. I hate when people throw shades at Rob. They say that, we got the new owner. Hopefully he fires Rob tomorrow. Rob doesn't do his job right. Dude, come on, get out of here, dude.
Rob's a really good GM, dude.
He's a smart GM, man.
I've been a Rob guy since the beginning. You know that too. I think you and I talk about it. I think he's a really good GM.
Yeah, man. He's patient with his deals, man. He's not just gonna make a deal just to make a deal. I mean, think about it. If we would have if we wanted a center, and if we would have blinked on that, think about if we would have made that Mark Williams trade, and Ayton became available. Dude, Ayton's buyout came out of nowhere, dude. Yesterday, I got an alert saying that Ayton negotiated a buyout with Blazers. No one knew Ayton's gonna be a buyout candidate. No one knew. And obviously, everyone's pointing fingers at the Lakers. Like, God dang, because like I don't know if you heard the report earlier yesterday before Ayton got bought out, that every team in the NBA is playing hard negotiation with the Lakers for a center position because they know Lakers are desperate for a center. And all of a sudden, Portland negotiates a buyout for Ayton. It's like, dude, patience. It'll be fine.
You just know that the agent for Luka was already talking to the Portland team. Was like, hey,
exactly.
Come on, we got to get him out of here. Like,
exactly,
kind of like how Rich Paul did with New Orleans.
Exactly.
Just started out. But let's talk about the other thing with the Lakers, and that's your boy LeBron James opting in $52 million, and then saying, "Let me see where the Lakers take me. I want to be in championship." Like, if you want to be in championship, why sign? Just go somewhere else. So he wants to make his money, but now he's also trying to gain control back as far as, dictating what the Lakers are going to do. And, hey, can you make me happy? So kind of doing it, kind of holding the Lakers hostage. Defend your boy, man. Tell me what's going on.
You know what's crazy, man? I'm trying to find something that I took a screenshot of that I want to talk about.
The Rich Paul thing?
No, yeah, it's about LeBron. LeBron pisses me off, dude. When I say pisses me off, he freaking pisses me off. Like, what do you, like, I'm thinking, like, what are you saying, bro? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you saying all this shit? Like, what are you getting out of it, right? Well, I'll find it in a bit. But basically, what I was trying to get at, man, is that, so, I hate when someone says something and does something, right? What I mean by that is that LeBron has a podcast, Mind of Their Own or something, what the bullshit called, with Steve Nash. Mm-hmm. He comes out, right? He comes out and says that championship shouldn't matter. It shouldn't be all based on championship. Like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, right? The championship doesn't matter. Why'd you leave Cleveland, my man? Why'd you leave Cleveland to go to Miami? Why did you have to make that city suffer so much just to go chase the championship with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh to win 2 titles? Why did you go back to Cleveland and on the record said that since I won that championship in Cleveland, I'm the greatest ever last year in his little barbershop, whatever bullshit show he has. I'm the greatest ever. Remember, he called himself the greatest ever. Who calls himself greatest ever, first of all? That one in Cleveland. No. Then he wants to go to the Lakers and win a championship there. So if the championships don't matter to you, and if it doesn't, it shouldn't justify, it shouldn't be the standard of what player it should be based on, then why did you come out? Why did your agent come out with that quote saying that my client wants to still contend, still wants to play for a championship? If championship doesn't matter, right? Then why are you trying to put pressure on Rob Pelinka and the Lakers?
Right.
Why are you saying the day before the free agency you opt in and then your agent wants to come out with this beautiful quote, and like yesterday and today, that's all they talked about: LeBron leaving or not leaving, right? And then Chris Haynes had to clarify that, hey, look, I just talked to the LeBron's agent, and he clarified that, look, he has no intention of leaving the Lakers. He wants to win with Luka and everything. He had to backtrack because the quote was so stupid, so idiotic.
It was like him saying goodbye.
Exactly.
This is what Rich Paul said. LeBron wants to compete for a championship. He knows the Lakers are building for the future. He understands that. He values a realistic chance of winning it all. We are very appreciative of the partnership that we have had for 8 years with Genie Bus, Rob Pelinka, and consider Lakers a critical part of his career. Like, that's a goodbye thing. We appreciate what you did for us for the last 8 years. That's what you tell your boss before you go move to somewhere else. That's the kind of shit you say. And then now, like you said, the backtrack.
And you know what, man? To be honest with you, okay, he comes on Steve Nash podcast saying about championship shouldn't matter, blah blah blah. And then you know what was another red flag for me is that, like, a week and a half ago, Lakers sold to Mark Walters, right? Luka came out and tweeted. I don't know if you saw his tweet. He's like, hey, look, I'm excited to work with the new ownership. Continue to win multiple championships, and he gave his blessings. LeBron nowhere near any tweet anything about backing up the the sale and like the new ownership coming in. Nothing. being the blank. So if you wanted to win a championship, why opt in, man?
Exactly.
Why fucking opt in? Why not become a free agent and sign a $1 million deal with the Golden State Warriors or Dallas Mavericks? They can all sign you for $1 million. Any team in this NBA of 30 team NBA can sign you for $1 million, man. Mm-hmm. Why opt in, bro? Go win a championship. Why you want to play for the Lakers? Why you still want to put pressure on the Lakers, man? Like, I don't get it, man. I don't fucking get it.
That's what I never liked about LeBron James. He is such a hypocrite when it comes to these things. This whole thing right today about, oh, I want to win a championship, but then you pretty much gut the Lakers with $53 million cap. Imagine if the Lakers had $53 million to spend this offseason. How much better could we have gone and build a team around Luka? No, he won't do it, right? He wants to, again, put the Lakers in a bad spot. He'll probably sign midway through the season, force his ass out. Probably what's going to happen because like we all know, as Laker fans, we're not going to be winning a championship. We're just not ready yet. You see where the Houston Rockets are at. You see where OKC's at. We're not there. We're not at that level at all. And not even Denver Nuggets anymore. And in the East, we don't know what it's going to look like, but we're not there either. So, like, I just don't think we're going to win. So why? And if he's so smart, he should know we're not going to win a championship. I better get my ass out of here. And this whole ring culture, I have two things about the ring culture thing, right? First one was it's his fault this whole ring thing started with. And he went to Miami and they're like, not one, not two, not three. If it didn't matter back then, you wouldn't see all that shit. You would have been like, I'm great. I'm happy to be here. I can't wait to win a bunch of games and have fun. That's not, but no, he goes out there and says, I want to win 6 or 7 championships. That's what he implied, right? And then why is he doing all this? Because he realizes that his GOAT conversation against against Michael Jordan is being lost. People are not putting him as a GOAT anymore. So he's trying to change the narrative. Like, why should championships matter if you're the GOAT or not? It shouldn't matter. Like, he's trying to change the narrative and blame it on the media or Stephen A. Smith more likely, saying that he's the one that forced his whole thing. Like, no, LeBron, you're the one that's been saying you want to win 6 or 7. You keep jumping teams left and right to win a championship, and then now you're gonna be like, championships don't matter. I don't care about it at all. It's all about being a good player and being a great blah blah. Like, no, that's hypocrisy that furious to me. That's why I never considered him a Laker.
Yeah,
got it. And I think it was Ryan Windhorst said, if Kobe was alive, he would have teared his ass out. Like, that's bullshit basketball. If you don't think winning championship is anything, you are not considered a great player at all. That's why, I mean, Kobe had an issue with his teammates who wouldn't show up to practice, being 100% locked in. He'd be like, get the fuck out of my gym. Yes. Yeah. Oh, that whole thing. Yeah, God.
And then what was LeBron? The greatness of winning championships. I might get this wrong because I don't know my awards really well, but that's what makes Denzel what Denzel is because of Oscars. Winning Oscars. What makes Jay-Z, Beyonce, Taylor Swift is because of the Grammys. How many Grammys they have won, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, I think that's the award show that's called for the music people, Grammys. Why Denzel so respected? Why is Bradley Cooper so respected in the movie industry? Because of Oscars. They won the award, the main event. You know, actor of the year, Oscar goes to Denzel. Oscar goes to Bradley Cooper. The music, the album of the year goes to Beyonce. Album of the year goes to Taylor Swift. Why? The Grammy goes to them because they are the best ones. That's what you're judged on. The championships in NBA, Super Bowl in football, World Series, like baseball. You are judged on how many titles as a main person you're winning. Mm-hmm. You know? So I hate when he said that how many championships you win shouldn't matter. No, it does fucking matter.
Yeah. It shouldn't matter as far as your impact on the league and you as a player. But if you want to be considered the greatest of all time
for individual purpose,
that's a different conversation from being a good like Charles. But we always say he's a Hall of Famer, a good player, one of the greatest of all time, but not.
Nope.
I mean, one of the
he's 50 great. He's 50 great, but he never won one. Yeah,
exactly. But if you're talking about the greatest of all time, if you want to be in that top 5 category,
you gotta win.
Goddamn right, championships matter.
You gotta win, man. You gotta win.
It's like it's
what
like
are you playing for?
About Mahomes, right? Mahomes, he has what, 2, right? 2? No, 3. Yes, 3. Right? If he only had 1, and he's like, I won 1, I should be the great. No, Tom Brady has 7. Joe Montana has 5. Like, you're not in this. Now he won 3. He's in the conversation. He's getting there, right? And he's still young. LeBron realizes his cap is 4, and that's it. Now he's like, okay, guys, no, we're not counting championships, right? That shouldn't count as far as GOAT, right? No, it should count. Because Jordan won 6, Kobe won 5, Tim Duncan won 5. You're not in that category, in my opinion, right?
Dude, do you know how many people have said in NFL that Dan Marino was really great?
Yeah.
But again,
no one talks about him.
Yeah. Because why?
Everyone.
Never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Dan Marino has never won a Super Bowl. So people still till this day say that Dan Marino was fucking Dan Marino, man. But no one talks about it because he's not a Brady. He's not freaking Matthew
Joe
Stafford,
Montana, Steve Young,
whoever.
Mahomes,
Joe Montana, Steve Young. He's not that. He didn't win one. Or Rodgers. Rodgers just won one championship, right? So that's the reason people talk about Rodgers, because he's Aaron Rodgers. Fucking Rodgers, right?
He won one.
He's won one Super Bowl. So it's hard to win it. And so for him to say how many titles, no, man, it does matter. If you consider yourself the great one, the one and only, LeBron James, you should be winning championship after championship after championship. You should be in that conversation. And then today they come out saying that, oh, I want to compete for a championship.
Yeah, exactly. I hate that. That's the hypocrisy of him. I don't get it. You downplay championships, and then today you're like, I want to win a championship. I'm going to be here, but then also get rid of me because I don't want to be here. Like, what are we doing, dude?
Why not opt out and sign $1 million deal any team you want to sign with?
Exactly, dude.
Anybody will sign you for $1 million, brother. I mean, honestly, you don't need money. You're $1 billion. You are $1 billion lifetime Nike contract forever, dude. You don't need money. I mean, shit. You can live off your son's contract who makes $7 million.
He has plenty of money that he can live comfortably. He's probably $1 billion athlete with all his endorsements for sure. So don't even why even want to do this? Just sign for $1 million somewhere else too. Just go. I mean, as a Laker fan, we're begging you, please leave.
Sign for a vet minimum, brother. Everyone gets signed for a vet minimum. Opt out and sign for a vet minimum, man. If you really want to win a championship and you think Lakers are not giving you that, capability, go to Dallas, go to Cleveland, go where the hell you want to go. Go to Milwaukee. Play with Giannis, man.
Yeah, you could. Go. I mean, he wants to play with Golden State so bad. Just go play with Steph Curry. It's your lifelong dream. Go play with him.
You know what's funny though? I think he kind of raised this question because he knows the Eastern Conference is so weak right now. Because Boston is gone, right? They're done. New York is New York, right? And Indiana's done, right? With injuries. So both of them are done. He knows Eastern Conference is so cakewalk, man. Anyone can make that finals, right? So he knows it. So I think, honestly.
You should go back to Cleveland.
Huh?
You should go back to Cleveland.
Exactly. He wants to go to Cleveland too. So I wouldn't be surprised, man, to be honest. I mean, honestly, if he demands a trade, I'll be happy, dude. I'll be go, man.
I would be so happy. As far as hoping he would opt out and just go. That was my dream, dude. Can you imagine? I mean, I would have taken, but kept Dorian Finney-Smith. We could have done so much money with that. God, dude, we're stuck with him. Again, I think midseason he'll play. We'll be probably somewhere between 4 to 6.
Yeah.
And then we're not gonna be contenders, and he'll probably ask to be traded out. And hopefully,
you know what, though,
we
man?
can trade him to Cleveland and get LeVert and some legit players. Who knows?
Well, Lakers set themselves up in a nice way because he opted in, so he's officially a free agent next year.
Mm-hmm.
And technically, we only have Luka, Dalton Connect, and maybe one other player. Oh, our rookie from this year is going to be the only people on our books.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. We can have space for 2 max contracts. Obviously, Austin Reeves, we have his bird right. We're probably going to retain him, but still, we have flexibility to do some stuff. So I'm fine with that. So we'll see where it goes.
All right. Well, last but not least, let's go to the NBA draft. So obviously, we knew Cooper Flag number 1 overall. I think the biggest headline was definitely Ace Bailey. Notoriously declined to work out for any potential winning teams, right? So the Sixers and I think who
San Antonio and
San Antonio. Yeah,
Philly,
he want to work out for them. He wants
them.
to go to a shitty team apparently.
Yeah, Wizards.
What are your thoughts on him? He went number 5 instead of number 3. He went number 5 to Utah Jazz. What are your thoughts on that?
So the 2 losers on this one is Philly, especially Philly, man. My brother-in-law who came on this, he's a big Philly guy. I told him straight to his face that Philly is a dumbest organization ever by passing up on Ace Bailey. Yeah, I'm not saying VJ Epcom is a bad player. He's gonna be a good player, man. I seen VJ Epcom play. I think he played in Baylor. He played well, man. He's a really good role player. But you all fucking third fucking pick, man.
Yeah.
You don't go for the best fit. You go for the best player. You go for the best potential. And same thing with Charlotte. Charlotte's always Charlotte, right? You know, they're going to mess that shit up like always. And I like, that's the thing about Utah. Danny Ainge, he's like, look, dude, you're not going to tell me who I'm going to draft, you know?
Yeah.
If you're there, I'm freaking drafting your ass. So,
yeah.
And Utah did the right thing by drafting him because think about it. Is he going to give up like, you know, because rookie for that position for a fifth pick, they make about 50 million or so, 40, 50 million for the 4 years. You think is he really going to give up 40, 50 million? And then the thing is this, once Utah signs him, right, technically right away, it's not like NFL where you can do a holdout and you can re-enter the draft next year. You know that NFL can do that, right? If a rookie doesn't like where he is and the contract's not going well with the negotiation, they can sit out and re-enter the draft again. Like few players have done that.
I know that.
NFL, I mean, NBA is not like that. NBA is like, hey, Tappers, we select you at number 4. Here's a contract. You sign it. That's all you have to do. And the thing is this, if Ace Bailey wants to sit out, guess what, my man? You have to sit out for 4 straight years.
For the contract term? Yeah.
4 straight years. By then, Mr. Ace Bailey is 22, 23. He's not going to be any value then, you know? Yeah. He lost 40 million and plus on top of that, because they can suspend him without pay, you know, and be out there for 4 years, right? So I like what Danny Ainge did by drafting Ace Bailey, which is great. Philly should have drafted Ace Bailey. This guy, because thing with Ace Bailey, difference between Ace Bailey and VJ Epcom is that Ace Bailey has potential to be a star.
Exactly. Yeah, he does.
VJ Epcom, we know who he is. He's a 3-and-D player.
Yeah.
He's a hard-nosed defender with a good spot-up shooter, going to be great for a championship team. But again, why do that when you have a chance to draft a potential, an all-star or a superstar in Ace Bailey? Because Ace Bailey will turn heads, man. I feel Ace Bailey is going to be better than the number 2 pick, which is Ron Harper's son, you know? So I feel Ace Bailey is the second best player in this draft. I am shocked that Philly and Charlotte both passed upon this guy, and Utah stuck with him. But like I said, he showed up, and he's going to be playing the Summer League, and I'm going to Summer League. So I'll see how it goes. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think for him, he's also probably happier because Utah is not a good team either. So like he'll get more playing time and all that kind of stuff. But you're right. I think Sixers should have put the foot down. But like, you're playing with us. Like, we're going to draft you. You got to come play here. And as a power forward, he would have been a really good addition to that team. With Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, you know what he's going to do. And Embiid, and now he could be the next Embiid. Like, you don't know, like, right? You can put him there. Great future.
Gosh, imagine that, man. Imagine that. Ace Bailey. Think about that lineup, man. Think about that lineup. You have Maxey, Ace Bailey, Paul George. Anybody can be your freaking power forward, and then you have center as Joel Embiid, man.
Yeah, but Philly will do Philly things, man. They make some bad decisions. They did the Paul George thing. They can't handle Embiid at all. The only light in there is Maxey, and who probably will opt out because he's probably gonna get sick of this shit.
Yeah,
of being
circus.
A
yeah,
team.
100%, man.
But yeah, what a freaking fire sale of a NBA draft today.
Hell yeah, bro.
NBA free agency, crazy.
It's
today,
continuing,
man.
Brother.
Yeah, I do. What are your next thoughts? Any big dominate? You still think Giannis gets traded somewhere, or probably it's too late now? He's good, right?
Yeah, he'll be fine. There'll be some trades, man, for sure. You know, I do feel Lakers might make some trades because Lakers have a combine of like 50 million expiring contracts. So if they do see some value out there, they can do it. They do have expiring contracts available, so they can make and go get some players if they need to. So I do see some trades happening. Free agent, not so much because not too many teams have cap space.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, man. I do feel it's going to continue for another week or two. So it'll be good.
All right. Well, we will keep you guys updated then.
Hell yeah, man.
Until then, Brown Ball,
peace out.
Out.